So in honor of Black Friday being the end of next week, I wanted to tell you it's really started pretty much at this point. That it's sort of a foregone conclusion. I saw Black Friday ads in July and August, for they were calling it Black Friday then. It's like, come on, people. Don't you think that's a little overused? But nonetheless, it's a big enough deal that everybody's trying to capitalize on it. So social media is going nuts in terms of those of you who are trying to do ads know exactly what I'm talking about. And then there's just lots of other things going on. But let's take a moment to talk about some updates that are in e-commerce. And we're going to do this from a little different perspective that not everybody shows you. So I know this is the Agency Owners and Digital Marketers Using Go High Level group. And we will get to the Go High Level portion of that show. But in the beginning, we're going to stop by a couple of other options. So I want to talk about, at least from experience, some of the pros and cons of a couple of the different platforms out there. And I know there's others that we won't cover. BigCommerce, I'm looking at you. But nonetheless, this is a deeper dive than perhaps other people sometimes give you. So I hope that means something to you. I hope it's, that it's big enough. Pardon me just a second. I am doing my bit, hopefully, for some advertising here. And then we will get underway with what it is that we're talking about. So, excuse me, I need to do the. And by the way, for those, this could be a live Q&A. So if you want to put something in there, if you would do me a huge favor and actually go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. StreamYard.com/Facebook. And then in that particular case, and give it rights to see who you are, because then what that does for me is that helps everybody show up, helps see their names. So I would appreciate that, because it's otherwise I just see Facebook user. So we'll do our best to make some of that happen. All right, we got all of that listed. So now we are ready to rock. So let's talk about some e-commerce. So this is not going to be the usual PowerPoint slides sort of thing. This is going to be an actual tour of some stuff. So I hope it's meaningful to you. And we're going to begin our journey with Shopify. You see the ads. You may have experienced it. You may have been a Shopify store. You maybe are a Shopify store, or you have, in the case of most digital marketers, worked with a Shopify store. So I am still, for what it's worth, a Shopify stores that I've set up. But it's, to be very transparent, it's not that many lately. It does have its place, but it's not necessarily one that I'm necessarily focusing on as much. So the thing about Shopify is this: if you don't have the help of a digital marketer, it's got everything self-contained. So if we go into any one of these stores, then we can see all sorts of different, all the marketing is baked in. The website is, can be built right there with, they basically build on about 7 or 8 themes the last time I checked, or you can go buy one and from their marketplace, which is very active. And they have really quite a few themes, but they're all variants. They're somebody's take on some of those themes that are already there. There are some that are not, and you can get themes from so you can do that, and you can and they have lots of resources. Or, like I said, Shopify has their own, and they have their own marketplace as well that's inside that you can buy from the providers who put that together. The same kind of goes for some of the add-ons and the apps and the services. There are services for just about anything you can imagine to accomplish anything you want, and so it's all very self-contained. It does, to their credit, they try to make everything easy for the novice. I mean, if you're just starting a store, that is their market, that is their avatar, that's who they want. You want to sell things online, we will walk you through the process, and it can be very complicated at points, but we're still going to, have some of the resources to walk, most of the resources to walk you through. There will be some issues or if you as a digital marketer and freelancer and that sort of thing, you have your ways that you set up ads and set up ads accounts. So that's not necessarily the way shop in the order in which Shopify would have you do it. If you follow their order and do their thing and don't jump the shark, as they say, then then you can, it's not going to be a problem. Everything's going to work out great. But if you start trying to do things the other way and get out of that order, it gets a little messy, and it takes a little while to straighten it back out. So I guess that's my main issue. If you stay within the confines of the way Shopify sets everything up, it's very good. If you need to bring along somebody who's a novice, their help articles, guys, are fantastic. One of the things that I always ran into setting up e-commerce clients, and to be honest, it's a severe roadblock, is getting demos, pictures of products and videos, especially if it's something they make themselves. You have to coach them through taking these pictures and getting good pictures so you can put them out there. And Shopify had some great articles around this, by the way. Some people that have written these, I mean, it's very, very well done. But it's a difficult thing to coach if it's not already set up, especially if it's a remote situation. But beyond that, as long as you do things the way that Shopify would have you do them and set them up, it works fantastic. Particularly somebody who's trying to do it for the most part on their own, maybe needs a little help and a little push over the line. It can be good. Their affiliate program, their partner program here, which is what this is. I'm actually a person who can get in there and set everything up and run and administrate different stores and look in on them. They have to give me permission. Anything financial, which is just fine. That's as it should be. And so that's okay. Not complaining about that at all. But there's a lot of other things that you can do that you can bring in. And to be there's advantages to being a Shopify partner. So if that's really your thing, that you want to set up stores, go consider signing up for this program. And you have to kind of have things in place as a business to do this, at least in some form or fashion. But if you do, then it's not so bad. And if you really want to make this your wheelhouse, where you're going out pitching people on Shopify stores, and you've really worked with the interface enough to work to do some things, then great, no problem. It's not an issue at all. So, and you can set it up, and it looks good, and all is well, and you'll be fine. But there's most of the major apps have things. Even Go High Level has some integration with this, so you can. It's of getting the contact information of the person who buys over to you, and some abandoned cart things, so they put them in your Go High Level into your contacts list. But other than that, it could be better, because so it's a little more. I see my videos clicking in and out there. So let me try this. Let me see if I can just kick out altogether my video. Oops. That's not what I had in mind. Now we'll get back over to that. It's all about pushing buttons there. Well, maybe a little better, but not really. All right. So yeah, I'll just do my best with it. If it really becomes a problem, I will check out of that process. In fact, why don't I do that? Because Yeah, that may or may not work. Okay, so we'll just kind of wing it. Hopefully, I won't cut out too much. I'm not really sure what that issue is around it, but let me quickly make sure system and their system works for you and that strategy works for you, then you'll probably do just fine with it. It won't be any trouble at all. So that's that's Shopify. You can set up the stores. You could their help system is very good. They will go to bat for your clients, but if you get outside of their methodology of doing things, it gets a little kludgy sometimes. But that could be an option for you if this is something you want to do. They have made actually vast improvements in some of their automations and the way that they're doing things and some of their store and marketplace and app offerings. They've changed around some of that. So they have a lot going on. They have not rested at all. And of course, they advertise like maniacs. So you see them all over the place. All right, enough about Shopify. Now, let's talk about WooCommerce. Okay. It's called pluginbusiness.net. And I've actually had it for a while and I've kind of sat on it. You see, I have a little bit of it in place. And ones that have been vetted and checked out and run. And for anybody who is setting up an office, transferring an office, moving an office, working from home, moving back out of working from home into a regular office, just pretty much anybody who needs those types of vetted services. Or company or help set it up. And came across this gentleman who brought our internet. We didn't know what our internet options were for this particular area we were setting up, northeast side of Houston. And he came along and brought the options at the time, the solutions at the time, which was there was only one really that made any that was even available in this little niche part of the area. Some of the major because they thought it could be. And then from there, he offered other things too. I mean, it was phone system. It was he would have done internet and marketing and all sorts of other things. So it was like a one-stop shop that somebody comes into an office, and I'm thinking, why couldn't somebody, why couldn't we do something like that? So that's was born pluginbusiness.net. There will be a lot more to it. We will come back and visit it because it's kind of at the core of where I want to go. And so the idea here is there's these different categories of businesses. It's not filled in yet, but we'll just click one just to click one. And you then can go here and you can search the different options. Well, there aren't any options in there yet, but they're coming. And based on relationships that I've put together, maybe some affiliates in there, we're willing to work something out there to make it viable. Okay. But this is all powered on WooCommerce. Okay. This is WordPress and it's powered on WooCommerce. So let's go take a look at that if we can for just a second. So I haven't added any products yet. That will change before the end of the year for sure. But in many ways, this is very similar to what Shopify is doing, and something else I'm going to show you in just a minute if you've been watching the news releases. So we're here in inside the and WooCommerce has, as you probably already know, has lots of add-ons. They've made it really good and really easy to set up. but it's WordPress's version. It's WordPress self-contained. There's lots of add-ons and lots of ways you can switch it around and connect it to things. And there was a situation too. You can add various payment processors. So like there was a situation for a company I was looking at that they processed everything at their booths with Square, and yet they needed an online presence. So we needed a link between Square and this WooCommerce here, because Square has their own service. They went and bought Weebly to try to have a little Shopify type of thing and compete with Shopify, because Shopify's killing them. But it just hasn't. With those of you who used Weebly, it's not what it should be. Although Square is a perfectly fine product. So trying to make all that connection where it makes sense. And so we had a situation here where we could synchronize online, in store or in booth, and everything. So, and any other orders that came in, like through email and different things, different other avenues that we would do. So all the inventory would be synchronized and there wouldn't be any problem. So there are ways of there are lots of plugins and things that you can do here. So like we're just going to click just to add a product. And I mean, it's got to go through this. Maybe I can get out of it. But it's basically a WordPress post. Most of you are familiar, I think. Not gonna let me do that. I gotta go through the whole stinking thing. But there's product name, product description. There's all sorts of other things. You can add the images. You can add tags. You can add a lot of SEO descriptive work. It's great for that. WooCommerce is just unbelievable. Different things that you can put together. So then in that case, you don't have to worry about, you can get the connectivity you need, because then you can, but it looks like otherwise a pretty typical WordPress post. Okay, I like to sort things by categories. I've got this set up to sort by categories. So that would be over here. Hundreds of galleries and different ways of displaying things. And then they have WooCommerce has its own, it's of course born out of themes. So Woo Themes is their, of course, parent. And so it's born out of that. And so you can just customize it any number of ways, almost too much. So if you're going to sell this as a service, two things. One, you have to be very familiar with WordPress and very comfortable with, at least, I mean, you don't have to be a coder or anything, but you have to be familiar enough with WordPress that to know how this is going to behave. And then it's good, like I tried to do with Shopify, try to get a list of major categories of things that people want. So you want themes, you have some trusted sources. You want shipping, you have some trusted sources. You want a nice product carousel, you have trusted sources. You want video descriptions. You want sizes if you're doing apparel or anything that requires a size. That's usually an add-on for these things. It does not come native. So you should have something that accomplishes that. And then you should have something that handles the marketing features. Okay. So Shopify has its own, it has its own robust marketing packages. If you use Go High Level, it does have some integration. There is, and it's gotten better, but it's been typically pretty basic in terms of getting people into the CRM and what you do with them from there. But that integration is there nonetheless. WooCommerce, you don't have direct integration with WooCommerce as such, but you do with WordPress, where you can add in the WordPress lead connector plugin for WordPress and then make it a part of what you do here. Or you can host the WordPress with WooCommerce on your Go High Level platform and make it a part of it there. So it's sort of a third-party connection, but I mean, whether or not you connect it to Go High Level and take advantage of the abandoned cart stuff, what happens if somebody leaves their cart, What happens if somebody fulfills an order? How do you follow up with them? If do you get them to mailing lists? Do you get them to different things to work with your clients? WooCommerce makes that infinitely more complex, but not hard. It's just complex. And so it's good to, I'm a big proponent of systematizing. Okay. And versus, having that general idea of what your clients want to accomplish. And these are the ways that I recommend to do that. And that way you specialize in those, and they don't take you off to some corner with a thing you've never heard of just because they researched it and saw it somewhere. And you go and look, well, it only has 2 stars. That's not going to help you. But they see it and they're hung on it for whatever reason. It would be good for, if you're going to sell this thing as a service, then to have your trusted things that you use, how is you're trying to reach for. But I mean, that said, WooCommerce is unbelievably flexible in what it can do, in many ways more than Shopify is. It may be the most flexible of the three options we're going to talk about here, because you can just take it in so many different directions, and they have made it stupid easy. Shopify has a lot of, so let's talk about for a minute researching problems, because inevitably you're going to come across something that you don't know how to do, right? So Shopify has quite a few resources to make that happen. That you can look up videos and things people have done. They're typically there are infinite number of videos and articles and help articles, some of them written by Woo Themes and that group, or they may just be Woo now, I'm not sure. But they written by that. Some of them, a lot of them are written by third parties, people that have done this to provide training videos, or there's lots and lots of research. So again, this comes down to setting up the processes you want and really working with them, and because those get results for your customers, tying them into marketing as we do, and so you can get the word out about these different things. On a Facebook page or an Instagram page and have your products listed as as a shop there. Same with Google. You can get on the on the Google side of things, the Google Commerce. I forget the word for it that goes with it, what they call it now, but it's basically Google Shopping, and and you can advertise stuff through there. It's also can be links to other places. Maybe there are niche marketplaces that specialize in something that you're particularly selling. And so they make it relatively easy. They all can go to the eBays of the world and the Amazons of the world, and and all those, if you want to market to those. It's not right. So all right, so let's talk about the last one you may see at the top of the ranks, because this one is WooCommerce. That is the most flexible of any of the three we'll talk about out here. There's a bunch of different ways you can take it, and that's a good thing. So let's talk about our final option. This is the one I'm the most excited about, and the reason that we are going to kind of do this tonight is good. We're going to tie it back. So we're here in Go High Level. And so when you're, setting up things that you're going to sell, you first have to generally go to your provider, your payment provider, be it Stripe, or now Authorize.net, PayPal, NMI, whatever. But a lot of times this starts at Stripe. and you put your products in there or your services, and then you come in here and you actually add them. So I have set up a little fictitious account here. Well, this is actually the plugin business account that we just saw earlier, but I set up a couple of little fictitious things to demonstrate something I wanted you to see, something that I've noticed lately. So we're here in the product section. So there's my fun little, this is the health and beauty thing. So I added some fun health and beauty things. You know, the Axe body wash that you don't have, that gets you clean and you don't smell like a millennial, whatever that smells like. And the hair washing one where you don't have to wash your hair for a week, but you don't look like it. I mean, of course, these are fictitious products, but they have pricing. They have just all the basics that you need. Okay, so we have set those up inside the system. So then I went and created a website in the health and beauty section here. So I went to sites to actually a website, even though Plugin Business has its own. This is for demonstration purposes. So you have the home, you have the, you can book an appointment at the salon because this is health and beauty stuff, and maybe they'll sell your products and things. And you have your product list. Wait a minute, product list. Hold up. What's that doing there? That doesn't exist. You have carts, you have checkout, you have all these other things. What is this about? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's back up one screen and go look at something here. We'll pick our little, we'll pick any little product, and I want you to notice what it says at the top. Show in store. In store is a new one, isn't it? So that then looks like this. So we now have the ability, they have just rolled this out at Go High Level, to add e-commerce to your websites. You can possibly add it to the funnel as well, but this is to the websites, and here we are, a store. This is a product catalog, basically a product list they call it, but product catalog built now into the website section. So how might one do this? Well, let's back up one, and I'll try to show you, even though it won't necessarily kick in. So if you have a website already built in Go High Level and you want to add a store to it, there's a new way to do this. So we'll go to home right here, and come on, baby. All right. So then we'll work our way down to this lovely little blank section here. So we're going to add something. Okay. And I want you to notice this is, well, first of all, this is in the new build. So you have to go to settings and labs and enable the new build to kind of get this. Otherwise, it all shows up over here, and it may or may not show up these new features. So here you get lots and lots and lots of options, most of them the same that you're used to. But there was one right here. Yeah, it's still there, called, I don't know why mine does this, called Store. All right, so we go click on Store. Now, what it will show you when you do click Store, if you haven't set it up before, is it says, okay, we can set up an online store. You're ready to do that. And so when you click, then it adds the store to that website. So what does that look like? Well, that looks like all these new little pages, because before on this little demo site I set up, it was just these three, okay? But then it added all this. It added the product catalog, the checkout, the cart, the abandoned stuff. I mean, added everything right there, all set up. So all you got to do is go in and edit it. Now it's kind of basic. We're just getting started here. And to be real honest, I didn't pick these products. They just showed up. You saw the two that I had supposedly set up. Well, it set it with these in place. But obviously, I mean, you can go change every one of these. And you can make it and set it up in such a way that you can have checkouts. And they'll probably add some more features, like for things with sizing, you'll be able to add sizing for if that's a concern. Either the clothing size or the product size. Like if there's a medium and a large size, of and what that particularly means. So this is just getting started, but this for Go High Level is huge. This has been something that really has been lacking. They have not, at least in the websites, and possibly this is in the funnels as well. I mean, you had the order thing, and you could do 1-step and 2-step order, and you could kind of wing it. But this is a big deal. So what you can do to practice on your Go High Level and really test the limits of this is, and understand they'll be updating it. I mean, 10 updates a week, guys. They're bound to, add some changes and things to this as they step it out. But you'll want to have your carts in place. You'll want to add your products to your, and then just come through and experiment with this and see what it looks like. Go through and customize these pages like you want. This is a demo site for plugin business, so we're not even going to use it as a site. So I'm not even going to bother. But I did want to show you this. And so if you build your sites in here, then come and play with this and come back and put in the comments, or just comment in the group. Let us know how in the groups. Let us know how this is going. We're at Facebook. We're in the LinkedIn group on delay because LinkedIn won't let us do the group live yet. We need to work on that, guys. So and as soon as that's the case, we'll start going live in that group as well. But it's certainly on tape delay. So anybody that he said tape, that's like so old. Anyway, this, go experiment with this and give some feedback as to what's going on. So this is yet another something that you can have in your arsenal for Go High Level people, that you can now start to really truly integrate, have the beginnings of integrating e-commerce into your websites and quite possibly your funnels too. There's nothing that says you couldn't do this with a funnel. They may or may not have rolled that out yet, but I bet it's coming if it's not. So there's that. And so I just wanted to show you what these things just kind of look like and what the potential is for them. We'll come and look at some of these others, though I suspect they're very, very basic. Yeah, they are. And so you can, oh yeah, that's my products. So you can add you can add different things to the cards and experiment with this and see how it's going to work. But I saw this coming out and it just makes all the sense in the world. It will then, of course, be tied to your payment method and or your client's payment methods and what you can do with that. So I hope this is helpful for you. There are 3 options if you're doing e-commerce, and there is more help than we could ever possibly dive into on this particular episode, depending on what you want. So what does success look like here? So again, figure out how you can set up a store in the least amount of time on any of these services. I'm talking about Shopify whether or not you're a partner or hook up with a partner. If that's something that you want to handle, come to me. I'll let you do it if you bring in the clients, and we'll and you can come on and set everything up there for somebody. Or it's WooCommerce, or it's that site. We'll talk about how to get on Plugin Business eventually when the time is right. But if it's WooCommerce in general, there's a whole lot of getting started and information and ways on how to do it. Or if it's now Go High Level and what it can offer as in that e-commerce space. So figure out where you want to set your stores up, where you want to do everything, and then put the basics in place of what makes a good store. That's theme, that's capabilities. What are the most common capabilities? Don't get sidetracked by all the stuff. Look at the reviews, particularly in Shopify and WooCommerce, of the different apps that will come alongside and will accomplish, if you figure out the basics of how you want a store to operate, what you want to do. You want to list the products. You want to accommodate any size issues there are, or different variations, different SKUs, they call them. As to what is the, like if there's a variation of a particular product, maybe a size is different or an ingredient's different or a color's different, then it oftentimes has a different SKU. So you need to accommodate that. For these different stores, you need to deal with shipping if that's an issue. You need to deal with but just the procurement of the product. I mean, whether if you're using, God help you, you're in the t-shirt game. That's tough, but there are a lot of services that will almost do everything for you and then send the shirt out if you supply the designs. Tough game for that very reason. But there are others like it that will do something similar if you want to send out logoed items, and that's really your thing, or that's your client's thing, and you really think they think they can do something different than anybody else is doing, then have them jump in there and do it. and make it happen. So so you have those together, you have your services together, and then just try to make it as tidy a package as you can that you can set up quickly. WooCommerce is very good for that. You can duplicate sites. Go High Level obviously is excellent for it because you can do snapshots and you can very much duplicate from one thing to the next to the next to the next very easily. And just know that that's going to expand over time. So those capabilities are going to expand over time. So I do hope all of that, possibly helps you here as far as those options go. I keep hitting the wrong thing, so I'm going to make it full screen there. All right. So that will take care of those three options. Let me know in the comments in the video and on the respective sites and pages where this is, what your experience is with them as far as setting them up and using them as a service that you can offer to your clients. Also, if you've had particular experiences with one or the other, what did you do to get around them? I mean, don't just complain about them. Every platform is going to have their issues, guys. It just is. And they're not going to all perform. But what did you do to get around it to hit the highlights? Why do you choose that particular platform of what you can do? Okay.